Thanks for joining the HomeMatters podcast with Eric and Gina Boggs, where they lead authentic, raw discussions about marriage, family life, kids, intimacy, and sex from a biblical perspective. Now here's your host, Eric and Gina Boggs.
Well, it's podcast 45, and I am so glad you're here. He is too. You are too, right?
I am. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
Podcast number, boy, that's hard to believe, isn't it? 45. We've been doing this for,
Good
that
one.
means we are over 3/4 of the year into this thing. So
Right.
hope it's helped somewhere along the way.
I sure hope
hope you
so.
listen. Hope you invite others to listen. If you don't, do that for us.
Yeah.
You say, I don't know if it's doing me any good, but if you'll just help somebody else out, how about that?
That's right. Maybe we don't need it. I don't know.
45. That's
We
a
all
number.
need it. I need it.
That's a significant number in our life. That was our son's
That's right. That's his
jersey
football
number. Kind of fits with what we're talking about today. I just thought about that.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that.
Because what we're talking about today is how crazy people are. How we can be crazy.
So this could be an extra long podcast. No, I'm just teasing.
No,
It's not gonna be extra long.
what we're going to talk about is fandom. And especially marriage fandom. Now, we talk about sports, and again, I kind of tied that
fans
in
can
with
be
45. But
Right.
yeah, I mean,
people that are like truly
that
a fan.
yeah.
I mean, they go to.
Oh,
they show
money,
some of these people.
The money to spend.
Y'all watch them like on games. They put the camera on these people, and I don't know if they're that big a fan or they just want to be on TV. So I don't know, but no, they are probably that big a fan because I've been to
most of
enough
them
games to see that. I mean, people can just get crazy. I mean, they spend money.
Tons of money spent.
Tons of money.
Sports and the whole deal.
Time. I mean, just.
And we're not haters here. We've done the same thing.
No, we have. I'm a fan.
I'm a fan, and
That's right.
we've been able to I think keep it in perspective. But when it comes to your life and what you're a fan of and what you're passionate about, that's what fans are. Usually, fans are
passionate about something,
what they believe in or what their team may represent, and
a sport
again,
or
what we're saying
hobby.
is there should be people that are fans of this thing called marriage.
That's right. We call them marriage champions when we do Marriage Matters getaways, and that's always a term that comes up. We just believe that the world needs some marriage champions, some people that are really fans of marriage, that not only say they're a fan of marriage, but that their marriage exemplifies that in the love they have for one another. And just the fun they have together.
Let me ask this question. Let me ask it this way.
Okay,
how many of you
away.
out there, all you married people out there, how many of you would say that you're a fan of your spouse?
Waiting.
I mean, really, think about that. How many of us are, we know the things we're passionate about. I'm passionate about a lot of things in life. I'm passionate about people. I'm passionate about sports, outdoors, I'm passionate about that. But how many of us would be accused of being a fan of our spouse?
You said accused.
Yeah. Guilty.
Guilty.
Right?
I'm guilty.
I think I am.
I'm your fan.
I think people would know I'm a fan of my wife. And
I hope they know I'm a fan. Maybe I just need to get a shirt that says.
Get my face put on it.
Get your face
That
on
would
it.
be a big shirt. Big shirt. This face.
I am a
Or
fan.
we could doctor it up a little bit and make me look younger and slimmer and all that.
Oh, I like you just like you are, baby.
Well, thank you.
I do.
But again, when I say that.
That's a great question. That's a valid question. If you are married, do the people around you, your family, the people you come in contact, the people at work, do they really know that you are passionate about your spouse?
No, wait a minute. That's good for the girls. But the guys, I don't know. We gotta maintain,
your masculinity,
our stature as a man.
Your ego.
And again, I kid about that, but really and truly, I think a lot of times men are afraid of that because, we have these little terms we use, phrases we throw out there among the guys that says, you can tell, boy, you just, when she speaks, you jump. No, that's not the kind of stuff we're talking about. We're talking about the fact that, the people around you know that you're crazy about your spouse. And I hope that, I think that most people know that I'm crazy about my wife, and
I know that.
I'm crazy about marriage, and I'm a fan of marriage.
And that's not just for Eric and Gina Boggs, the people doing the podcast.
That's for HomeMatters, right? That's
It's just for HomeMatters. Yeah. No. That's what we start off with. We need some marriage champions in the world. Some people that believe in it, some people that are living it out, some people that are an example. So, so that other people look at your relationship and say, hey, man, that thing called marriage, like it really works for them. So I want that to happen.
How many people know that you're in love with your spouse? That you don't just put up with each other?
Sometimes you do have to do that.
Yeah, maybe so. But I'm just saying that.
We'll have to put up sometime, right?
Is it evident? Not only to your spouse, but to other people that you believe in this thing and that you believe in your spouse. And again, what we're saying, it's not some kind of pipe dream. It's not just some kind of silly little, facade of looking like you're in love. That's not what we're talking about. And that's hard to differentiate or draw the line, because I think a lot of people think, well, that means I got to put on the mask and got to fake it till I make it, that kind of stuff.
Or not be silly, we encourage you to listen to other podcasts. We're not the only one out there, but I'm just going to be honest. Sometimes people that talk about marriage, kind of display, and God help, I don't ever want us to display this, that, theirs is just the perfect, the white picket fence, the angels singing in the background. Kind of fairy tale, but you're like it's not real. Okay. Cause this is like real. We get aggravated with each other. We get on each other's nerves. But I love
even
this
when
man.
She gets on my nerves though, I will say, I can say this, and most people know this, I still am just
madly in love with you.
Head over heels with
you drive me crazy.
With my wife. And
sometimes you drive me crazy.
Again, that means that there are times that she may drive me crazy that, I just pat her on the backside just to let her know that I'm a fan, and all of that. It's just the fact that you can come to a place that you, and again, it takes, we talked last time about being attentive and aware of the things that sometimes the enemy wants to throw in there to create these wedges of separation.
That's true. He will do it.
But you do have to give attention to this thing, this lifelong love affair. Who was that? Was that?
You just stole that from, that's Jimmy Evans, I believe. Lifelong love affair.
But that we have this love relationship that God has given us. It's a gift from God.
Yes.
And that we live that way.
Man, the great love that he's given us. And man, as his children, the love that we can operate out of. There's that agape love that he just loves us no matter what. And he's poured that love out, the word says, into our lives. Yeah. And so when we can just love like that, love covers a multitude of stuff, right? And just our passion and love for one another, it enables us to be able to put up sometimes, right? To put up with each other.
Sure it does. And with that, again, we live with this sense of knowing that we're here to build up and to encourage and to strengthen, not to tear down or to pull down.
That's so important.
But I'm here to make sure that I'm building up my marriage, building up my wife, my spouse. Yeah. And that in that I'm adding to it, not taking away.
Events that we do a lot of time, Marriage Matters, we split up a lot of times. And the ones that we sponsor, Eric takes the guys and I take the ladies, and we just have some time there. And I always try to encourage the ladies to know that, I should be my husband's biggest cheerleader. I should be the one that encourages him, that builds him up, that gives him security, that makes him feel like he can go out and conquer the world another day. And I love being the one to do that. That's my privilege and my opportunity. And I don't want anybody else out there taking that role, right? It's
that's huge for men too, though.
My opportunity to be the one that encourages him, that pushes him on, that whether it's his job, his being a father, has he made mistakes in his job and, finances, father, leading our home? Yeah.
No.
There have been some mistakes along the way. Now, I've made plenty of mine, but we're talking about you right now. But even in
you talk
those,
about that though, from the standpoint of a woman, a wife giving confidence to her husband, and that is so real. But I think, boy, we really as men better be aware of that as well.
That's so
that
true.
Our wives, boy, if they're in a world today that's image conscious and everybody's begging for attention, and
that's so true.
Our wives, thankful that Gina's I've never felt like she was real needy when it come to that. But at the same time,
I think the reason for that is because I'm so confident in your love and what you believe about me.
What I was about to say is this: is I should always be a fan or be so consumed with my love for her and my attraction toward her that she's never finding security or confidence outside.
Right.
She's not having to look for that in other places. Boy, you're talking about safeguarding your marriage.
That's so true.
When the world knows that, I'm consumed, I'm head over heels with my wife.
Yeah.
It's not that it's not that any of us are not subject, but at the same time, it keeps us at a place where she can be confident, she's secure, and she's not listening to the voices out there that may get her attention.
True.
And
it
puts a guard about my life that other people know that I'm taken away with my wife and not so easily taken away by something else. Right.
It just takes you off the market again, right?
Yeah, if you can say it that way. Again, you don't think of that at 58-year-old. You don't think about being on the market, but again, it does safeguard in so many ways.
It is a safeguard. It's a boundary that we build about our relationship, and man, just to encourage and to uplift. And come on, guys, if you, and ladies as well, I'm just saying guys is everybody, but if we're in the constant habit of nagging, of, just tearing down, if we're just looking for something negative, if we're just always trying to just whatever I can pick at, whatever I can point out, whatever I can
improve in his life.
If I'm always trying to point out something you need to do different, it doesn't work.
And vice versa, it doesn't work for our wives as well.
The scripture's clear, to us ladies about, our nagging and constantly just being overboard with those things. I mean, the word says we're like a dripping faucet. I mean, you're driving people crazy and not changing anything. And so, God help us not to be
with
that.
The thing is we've always said, boy, attitude of gratitude will go a long way. And if we're just thankful for each other, we can just live with that sense of being thankful for our spouse, thankful for what God's given us. And again, you may say, well, I don't have much. You don't know what I'm living in. But we're just saying, if you'll take that attitude of a sense of knowing that, boy, I can be grateful for the fact that I do have a spouse.
So good. Yeah. Man, pray for your spouse. I mean, we can rant about them to everybody, but what about let's talk to God about them and just pray. I know there's several books that we usually put out as well at our events, praying, for our spouse, for your husband, for your wife, and how we can do that, because I can guarantee you this, when you start praying for them, it changes your attitude.
Sure it does.
It'll change the way you feel. It'll change the way you think. You can find yourself with an attitude of gratitude. I think
that so many times we talk to ourselves, whether we realize it or not. Nobody talks to us more than we talk to ourselves. Yeah, think about that for a minute.
That's good.
We're always talking to ourselves. And you may have to change what you're talking about. You may have to change the way you're talking about your spouse to yourself. Does that make sense? Your thoughts, you may have to work on that. You may have to change the thoughts or the suggestions again. Then the enemy may be thrown up there about, what she's not or what she don't do or
he will do
how
it.
She hasn't. But again, you may have to change that. You may have to change the conversation that's going on in your head.
That's so good.
About your spouse. You may have to talk yourself. I always say you can talk yourself into something if you will allow it. There's power of death and life in the tongue, and what you're talking to yourself
what you're
about.
Talking about. Even if you aren't saying it out loud.
Oh yeah,
right. If you're just letting it ramble around in your head.
Some of you may be driving down the road talking out loud to yourself, but I hope you don't have that.
He's driving me crazy. He's an idiot.
But, even
do
with that, again, we're just saying that conversation that's going on in your mind, in your thoughts that you have. You talk to yourself a lot, and you may have to change your conversation about your spouse.
That's so true.
Again, instead of saying, if she don't do this, maybe you need to find something that you're thankful for that she does do.
Yes.
And just say, I'm thankful that she does do this, that she takes care of the kids, or that she's such a good mother, or, she's careful with her spending. Some of you may be sitting there saying, my God, I wish. But at the same time, you can find something to be thankful for if you look for it.
That's so true. And saying that to yourself, that's the start, but I just encourage you to say it to your spouse. Because I think we get in just this rut all the time of just, assuming that they know, or we're in the rut of, always saying the negative and always pointing out what they haven't done and what they don't do and what they, haven't become and all this stuff. But
I have to do that to keep you in line.
You have to say those things to keep me in line.
That's what people think.
Thank you so much. Thank you for keeping me in line.
Yeah, I tell couples all the time, the things that you don't like about your spouse, you probably won't change them. You can nag, you can complain, you can be aggressive, and the reality is you might get them to conform for a period of time, but they won't change. The only change we can make is what comes from within, and I have to be willing to change that myself. Again, should you have conversations about trouble spots or things that are bothering your relationship? Sure. But it shouldn't be in an accusatory way.
Right.
Not with accusation, not with just always,
right.
But more in a heart and a spirit of appeal. Have you considered the way you looked at me the other day? Have you thought about the way you talked to me? And that'll go a lot further than you pointing your finger and saying, you've done this, or I've had
Point
enough.
Your finger at me.
That doesn't go very far, does it?
No, it doesn't. It does not go very far. We noted a passage in here in Hebrews 3:13 about exhorting one another and lifting each other up. And this is a passage, to the church about the importance of, us exhorting one another and that warding off a hard heart in our life. And we talked about the hard heart in the last episode. Maybe you can go back there. But that whole passage is about being faithful and encouraging our brothers and sisters in the Lord, and that warding off a hard heart towards one another. So, man, how appropriate is that, or how much can we take that and say, hey, in marriage, if I would just come to understand that my exhorting you, my encouraging you, it really wards off that hard heart in my own life. When I just sometimes it's just taking the high road, right?
Yeah, and just taking time to know what you can do to improve, studying, trying to find what can I do to make my marriage better? What can I do to add to my wife, or to encourage, to stimulate her in every way. Right. Those things is something
it could be, just you having a conversation. What can I do? What can I do to make you feel more important, or to feel more self-esteem, or, more loved? Yeah. What can I do? Or maybe it's listening to a podcast like this. Maybe it's reading a good Christian, godly book about marriage and about your relationship. But to be a student of your spouse, I think that's so important.
Hit this real quick. I want this passage of scripture. I want us to bring it to where we live.
All right.
I know we got to finish.
Romans 14:19. Let me read the passage first. It says, so let's agree to use all of our energy in getting along with each other.
Wow.
Help others with encouraging words. Don't drag them down by finding fault.
Wow. Use all of your energy.
All your energy.
To learn how to make sure that you get along. We apply that just to the church. But boy,
yeah, we do. Yep.
What would that do in our house?
In our home relationships. That's so
I
true.
don't ever want to live my life dragging my wife down or dragging our marriage down. I want to always encourage and build up. I'm a fan of
Eric Boggs. Let it be noted on podcast. What's this? 45.
Yeah. Hey, Home Matters. And again, get after it. Make sure that you are doing everything you can to build up and encourage your marriage or your spouse.
Right. Marriage champions. That's what it's about. See you next time.
Bye-bye.